Hi, welcome to Maximum Human Performance. I'm your host, human performance expert, Brad Valancourt. Welcome all you high-achieving 40-year-old and under entrepreneurs. Oh my gosh, there are so many of them nowadays. So I'm doing this episode to specifically help you because there seem to be some specific problems that you could really use some help with. Let's get started. Now, maybe you're like Aisha. Aisha had a real tough time getting started in her 20s. She had this vision. She wanted to have one of the best yarn shops in the, not only to purchase yarn, but also get crafts and stuff like that, all within one shop. And she wanted to be able to ship anywhere in the country. Now, not only did she want to be able to do that, but to be the most efficient at it so that she could offer the most competitive prices. Now, that is a lot to aspire to when you're only in your mid-20s. What did she do? She started with exactly what she needed to do for the budget that she had. So she had her and her husband do all the work to get the shop started. They sold other things just to bring people in so that they could take a look around and say, oh, you've got more than just confectionery things. You also have craft memorabilia and also some tools and things like that. So that really brought in the people that would normally have not come in. Excellent. But that also brought about the boat, the sinking boat. She felt like she was sinking on a boat. Why do I say sinking on a boat? Because we're talking about burnout, overwhelm, anxiety, and then tormenting herself, right? All these things were going on, and they were going on at the same time. That is her sinking boat. Just awful. Up until we met. Then we got to figure out why all these things were happening in the first place, and we got to dial down all that overwhelm. That burnout feeling was now gone because she was able to enlist the help of a couple of people that she hired. And then when it came to the anxiety, right, we did some specific techniques for that. And we also got to the root causes of those problems, which stemmed from her mother's side of the family. And as soon as she was able to get rid of those things, boy, she stopped tormenting herself. I wouldn't say life was smooth sailing, but boy, it was a lot better. And you can have that too. Now, for a lot of you, when you start out, work-life balance is one of your things that you're trying to figure out. The problem is you're not looking at just two things, something called work and something called life. We're looking at everything that they encompass, right? You're looking at what does your work involve? Is it you, your employees, clients, product, right? Timing of all this stuff. I mean, there's a lot going on. So instead of looking at work-life balance on being maybe one teeter-totter, think of it as like this. You've got another balancing or another teeter-totter on the seat here and the seat here of the teeter-totters, which now means that you've got 1, 2, 3. And then you go up on top of those until you get to all the different things. And it might seem overwhelming. I really wouldn't worry about it. I'm just trying to give you a visual that work-life balance is a lot more than just two things. Because if you go into it thinking that, oh, it's only work and it's only life, then you're going to be lying to yourself and you're just going to dig yourself a hole. Definitely don't want to do that. So instead of looking at life and work as trying to balance each other out, instead, look at it as a juggler. Okay, how much can I juggle when it comes to the work stuff? Well, I need to juggle my time. I need to juggle maybe the inventory. I need to juggle who I am competing with. Maybe it's not the competition. Maybe it's a matter of getting better employees, things like that, right? And then you've got the life side. Well, what's your life side? Does that mean personal time? Do you have a spouse or a partner? Maybe you have a child or children, right? And then you're balancing these things too. So figure out what it is that you need to be the best juggler at. And for a lot of us, we're really good at certain things. Like maybe we're really good in the work department. And you know what? I can handle all this stuff and all this stress on work and stuff like that. That's great. But as soon as I get home, my hair gets pulled out because, man, I just can't deal with, a crying baby. My spouse who just, has had such a tough day with the baby, and yet, I can't deal with that either because they're just acting irrational and all these other things going on. You want to make sure that as you get to becoming a better juggler at what you're good at, you're also becoming a better juggler at the things that you suck at. So that while you're doing that, you just bring yourself up. You're bringing your levels up. And the best way to do that is to get rid of the burden that you've been holding on to, whether it be burdens with your work, right? Maybe you're not the greatest when it comes to dealing with your employees and you're too hard on them, or maybe they feel that you don't value them. So then as you change to become a better employer to them, that's going to help you out. It's going to help them out too. And they're going to stay. They're going to want to work for you. They're going to want to work harder for you. But if you have employees that are afraid of you and are afraid to come to you, they don't last long. That makes juggling a hell of a lot harder on that side. And guess what? You're going to take that over onto the life side, and it's going to fester over here too. And you're going to be a worse juggler at this side and this side. So figure out what you're great at. Keep it up there. Do the things that you need to so that you can keep that level up here, but bring up your weaknesses wherever it is. If it's the life side, if it's the work side, just figure that stuff out. It won't take much. Write down a list on either side, and you'll open your mind as well as your eyes to a lot of things. Now, if you're recognizing that sinking boat, right, that very first letter B, you're burnt out, maybe you need to do some delegation. Maybe it's a matter of, all right, now I need to hire people, but how do I do this? And a sports analogy, whether you are a sports fan or not, sports teams, they know this inside out. You always start from the top and work your way down. In other words, you're at the top, so then maybe you need to hire a CEO. Your company's not that big, that's fine. Maybe you need to hire a manager, and by doing that, they take care of who the employees are, how they respond to stress and all these other things. You don't deal with that anymore. You deal with working on the business instead of working in the business as much. This is what's going to help you scale, and this is what is going to help your business itself get nurtured properly so that you don't feel this overwhelmed, this burnt out. Right? If you feel burnt out, it's going to affect everybody below you. And since you're already at the top, it's going to affect every trickle-down person, even your clients. Now, it's been said a lot in the business world that you only have so many decisions that you can make within a day. And I first heard this from former Dragon's Den and current Shark Tank shark, Robert Herjavec. He brought that to the world's attention, and I just thought, how true can that be? If you are so busy making decisions for all these minute things in your life, and it's taking up too much of your time, because we still have that 24 hours within a day, and that's all we have no matter who we are, well, we need to focus on the bigger decisions in life so that we can make those our best decisions and leave the smaller decision stuff like, okay, laundry's got to get done, or maybe it's something like, okay, this memo has to get out to the employees, things like that. Okay, those can all get done by somebody else. And when you do that, when you focus on the bigger picture things, that, man, you are dialed in. You're used to getting the answers for all these bigger questions in your life. It's going to help you out. It's going to take off so much of that burden, and your shoulders will come down. They won't be up around here as you're trying to figure everything out. What good is that? It's awful. Now, as a young entrepreneur, you're going to be so quick to learn to adapt to certain types of stresses, which is great. But keep in mind, you can adapt in one of two ways. If you end up adapting in the wrong direction, that is going to cost you. It's going to cost you money, time. It's going to cost you your growth, and maybe even your business. Not to mention, it could cost you in relationships, business and personal. Okay, so what I'm talking about here is when you adapt. See, as humans, we have a goal of one of two things. We want to either gain pleasure or avoid pain. Whichever one that you go after is going to be a very different result. So, for instance, maybe you've heard of the frog in the pot, right? I almost said Illinois French, thinking French, frog legs, I guess. So let's say that you're a frog in the pot and the water is lukewarm, no big deal, right? It's just you barely even feel that you're in water. But it goes up 1 degree every minute. And before you know it, you're in this nice warm bath. This is great. Arms are up. You're just relaxing. But again, it goes up 1 degree every minute. And then what ends up happening is you get so relaxed, so lazy, your nervous system gets so used to what's going on, where you're at, it doesn't want to do anything about it. Good, bad, or indifferent. It's just, whatever happens, I'm just going to be here. And so the frog ends up not jumping out when it starts to boil because the nervous system is too damn lazy. And as humans, we can get that exact same way, right? If we adapt to stress by not doing anything, by just freezing of the fight, flight, or freeze, we just freeze and don't do anything, that's doing something, and it's going to cost us so much. So always keep in mind that when you're going to adapting by being a part of the environment that you don't want is not where you want to be. You want to adapt by how do I get myself out of this shithole and into where I really want to be, and really adapt in that manner, going towards pleasure. So when it comes to assembling your team, as I talked about, you start from the top down. If you need a CEO, if you need a manager, a general manager, somebody that can take that burden off, and then they can hire and fire the people that will best suit your company so that you get the vision into a reality, right? Once your vision becomes that reality by having the right people in there, boy, life is so much easier for you. Not to mention that, but you brought in that person to do all these wonderful things. If it's time for a change, then you're the one to change and do it really quickly, right? If you see that things aren't working out, don't drag it out. Dragging it out just makes matters worse later on. This is why when it comes to the sports teams, right, they start with the, say, vice president of operations, and then they hire the general manager. The general manager then hires the coach that they want. And you always see a coaching change whenever there is a new general manager. And then from there it goes on to coaches will hire, the assistants that they want. And there's a trickle down effect. All that happens because of that one hire, that VP at the very top of that hiring stage, right? You do that with your business, and you're going to notice that it's a lot better to have everybody on a congruent stage. They were all brought there for the same philosophy in your business. Now, sometimes as high achievers, you have such high goals for yourself that you bring the expectation of everybody else up like this, and they just can't meet it, so they fall, they crumble. Maybe the issue has to do with communication. They didn't know your expectations. They didn't know all these chunks of wins that have to happen in order to stack themselves so that leap isn't so huge at the top, because they've made these smaller wins to get them along the way. You communicate that kind of stuff to your people, that, this is what we have to do. That sets out the expectations, and they can say, great, I'm up for it, or, this is not for me. You need to find somebody else who will fit that mold for you. So proper communication, which is huge. A lot of people don't realize that until later on, and it's far too late. They made way too many mistakes. But for you 40 and under high achievers, yeah, definitely improve upon your communication skills for everybody's benefits. Sometimes ego gets in the way, and therefore communication levels go right down the drain. Right? Forget the ego and just become a better communicator. You don't need to yell at anybody. It's all a matter of being the better communicator you are for the people that you're serving. The more powerful you're going to be, and the more powerful your business is going to be. Now, what happens if you have a successful startup and all of a sudden your growth goes, wow, huge. And now you're thinking about, oh my gosh, I need to expand. Maybe I need a warehouse, or I need a bigger warehouse, or I need, to bring in more people to serve, or I need to come up with more product. All these different things, they need to be assessed. And if you have the right people in place, they can do that kind of assessing for you. And you can keep considering what it's like to keep growing and have that support system. If you've got the good support system of these people, then it's going to be real easy. Now, if you're a fan of the movie Van Wilder, like I am, then you'll know that he said, life is all about developing relationships. When you can do that, then work will be so much easier. Your home life will be a lot easier. And when it comes to having that work-life balance that you were striving for in the first place, that becomes much easier because you have people that are willing to help you because you're willing to serve them, right? When you develop these relationships, whether they be for networking or you trying to build a personal relationship, it's so much nicer when you've got those development skills to do that. If you try to build a business and not have that kind of skill, it's going to be a lonely and uphill, like steep uphill battle. You don't want that. In fact, that's probably not even steep enough. It's probably more like that. Now, just because you have a lot of energy at your age, it doesn't mean that you need to neglect yourself. In other words, neglecting your self-care, neglecting your health, your mental health, physical health, emotional health. You need to take care of all those things. And instead of trying to worry about, oh gosh, how do I do that? Oh, what do I do? How do I do that? It's really simple. Find things that you like and enjoy those activities because you like them, not because you have to do them or not because it's going to help you with your business. Just do it because you personally like doing it. For myself, I love learning more about the human body, mind, and the emotions involved and how they intertwine. It's incredible what happens. And that's why I went to go learn 16 different modalities that all get integrated into my work when I'm working with people and trying to figure out all these root causes, right? And if you can even make that your thing where you go and see a practitioner. Maybe you go and see a human performance expert and they figure out, well, you know what? We can make your life so much simpler just by finding the root causes of these issues that are limiting your growth for your personal life and your business life, right? That's exactly what happened with me. I went and I found the best people that I could. Always look for the best because otherwise you're wasting your time, your money, those things. They are crucial to being as efficient as possible. Find the right person that you drive with that says, hey, you know what? Let's take a look at what's causing these issues, especially the ones that fly under the radar. You just know that you can't go any faster, but hey, maybe it's not you that's causing that slowdown. Maybe it's issues that have been flying underneath the radar. Right? It could be things like some fears that you're not even aware of, or maybe it's some belief systems that you're just they're making you go slower than you really need to. For instance, I had one person that always needed to fail first before they succeeded because that was part of this fear that they just would not let go. Once we found out that, oh wow, there's a root cause here with these branches, these attachments, and once we let go of those attachments one at a time in proper order, then freed themselves, like this huge weight lifted off of them, and man, they didn't need to fail anymore. It was a matter of, okay, I'm going to get through this. If I fail the first time, fine, but I don't need to fail. I can succeed, I feel good about succeeding, and succeed again, 4 or 5 times before they even fail. Think about how much faster that is compared to trying, fail. Okay, try again. Maybe I fail, maybe I don't. Imagine that kind of life. What kind of life is it? You're going so slow when you have to do things twice, 3 times. Awful. Patterns like that, find out what you got to do to get rid of them. Now, just like how you want to find the best people when it comes to hiring, the best people to help you with your self-care, you also want to find the best people who are innovators. If you have to keep coming up with new ideas for product or ideas on how to get new clients, how to service people better, then find those people. Or if you're that person, then use that skill continuously. Always try to figure out, okay, how can I make myself better? How can I make my business better? How can I make the people that work for me better? Because when you can make everybody that works under you better, then they're going to be able to come up with the concepts that you won't even be able to fathom because they'll have different experiences. That's going to be a win-win for everyone. All right, under 40s, you've got some more tools. This is going to help you out so much. Thanks for watching Maximum Human Performance. I'm human performance expert Brad Valancourt.